What happens when wisdom meets temptation? In the ancient land of Israel, King Solomon was renowned for his unparalleled wisdom, a gift from God that enabled him to judge fairly and offer sound counsel. His fame spread far and wide, attracting kings and queens from distant lands who sought his wisdom and insight. However, amidst this greatness lay a tremendous challenge that would change not only the course of his life but also the fate of the entire nation of Israel. The book of Deuteronomy contained vital instructions for Israel's kings, emphasizing the importance of leading with righteousness and faithfulness to God. Among these crucial warnings was a clear directive: the king must not take many wives, or his heart will be led astray. Deuteronomy 17 verse 17. This warning was not just about marital fidelity. It served as a safeguard against the distractions and influences that could pull a leader away from his primary duty to God and his people. Despite this divine caution, Solomon chose a path that diverged sharply from the teachings he was supposed to uphold. In pursuit of political power and peace, he married 700 wives and took 300 concubines, many of whom were foreign princesses. These unions were often politically motivated, aimed at forming alliances with neighboring kingdoms. While such marriages were a strategic move, they came at a great cost, introducing foreign gods and customs into Israel. Over time, these influences began to erode the foundation of monotheism that God had established among his people. As Solomon indulged in these relationships, he found himself drawn away from the teachings of the God of Israel. The Bible narrates how his wives led him to build high places for the worship of Baal and Ashtoreth, foreign deities that stood in stark contrast to the worship of Yahweh. This compromise marked the beginning of a downward spiral for Solomon. Despite possessing profound wisdom, he fell into the trap of indulgence and complacency, neglecting the spiritual welfare of his people in favor of his personal desires. His heart, once fully devoted to God, became entangled with the influences of his many wives. As time passed, God, observing Solomon's actions, grew increasingly displeased. In a significant moment, God appeared to Solomon in a dream and issued a stern warning: "Because you have not kept my covenant, I will tear the kingdom away from you." This warning was not merely a threat but a heartfelt plea from God, reminding Solomon of the importance of fidelity to his commandments and the dire consequences of straying from them. Solomon, in his pursuit of worldly pleasures, had lost sight of the covenant that had once guided his life and reign. The consequences of Solomon's decisions became painfully evident when he passed on the throne to his son, Rehoboam. Upon Solomon's death, Rehoboam faced a divided kingdom, with the 10 northern tribes rejecting him and only Judah and Benjamin remaining loyal. This division was a direct result of Solomon's choices, ushering in an era of conflict and strife that would plague Israel for generations to come. The once united kingdom was now torn apart, showcasing the dire results of Solomon's compromise. Solomon's life serves as a critical lesson about the dangers of compromise and the importance of heeding God's warnings. He had been gifted with immense wisdom, yet even he could not escape the consequences of his choices. The story of Solomon illustrates a profound truth: wisdom alone cannot protect us if we choose to disobey God. It's not enough to possess knowledge. We must actively apply that knowledge in our lives and remain vigilant against the distractions that seek to lead us astray. As we reflect on Solomon's life, we must ask ourselves why God allowed him to have so many wives. The answer lies in the gift of free will that God has bestowed upon humanity. God permits us to make choices, both good and bad, so that we can learn and grow from our experiences. This freedom is a double-edged sword. While it allows us to pursue righteousness, it also opens the door to temptation and sin. In today's world, we face similar temptations. We are constantly bombarded by choices that can lead us closer to or further from God. Like Solomon, we may find ourselves at a crossroads, deciding between what is convenient and what is right. It is crucial to seek wisdom and guidance from Scripture and to remain accountable to one another within our communities of faith. As we ponder Solomon's choices, let us remember that our decisions carry weight. The consequences of our actions can ripple through our lives and the lives of those around us. Striving to keep our hearts aligned with God is essential, as is heeding the warnings found in His Word. In conclusion, Solomon's story serves as a cautionary tale for all of us. It reminds us that even the wisest among us can falter when we allow outside influences to sway our hearts. We must commit to nurturing our relationship with God, prioritizing His Word, and surrounding ourselves with influences that draw us closer to Him. Let us strive to be wise stewards of our choices, ensuring that we remain faithful to the teachings of God and avoid the pitfalls of compromise. So, as we reflect on this journey through Solomon's life, let us ask ourselves, how can we ensure that our hearts remain true to God? What steps can we take to avoid the distractions and compromises that seek to lead us astray? May we learn from Solomon's story and strive to walk in faithfulness, keeping our hearts and minds focused on the one who gives us true wisdom.